What is going on, everyone? My name is Juan. I am the owner of Barbosium Fitness and founder of the Conquer the Corona Challenge. With all the gyms being closed and everyone being stuck inside, I want to make sure you are staying healthy mentally and physically. So I'm going to be posting follow along style workout videos on our Facebook page at 6:30 a.m. every day for the next 21 days. I'll take you from a warm up through the workout and close out with a cool down. Modifications will be shown of every movement, so let's ditch the excuses, commit to success during this time, and conquer the corona. If you know of anyone that could benefit from this video, please like, comment, and share as we are all in this together. Make sure you have your water ready and workout clothes on because we are about to get started right now.
Alright guys, so to get started with this workout today, our warm-up will be 5 minutes and we're going to get started with jumping jacks. This is a modification, so if you can't jump or you have any knee issues for this, we can step wider than shoulder width apart, going from one side to the next and making sure to make contact with our hands up top. If you can, go ahead and switch it up to what I'm showing here now of standard jumping jacks. We're connecting one rep into the next. And if you're wondering, why the heck is he wearing this tie-dye? It's really because I want to bring you guys a smile while I deliver some value with this at-home workout. As I know this is a time where anxiety is a little bit higher, stress is a little bit higher. This is just to bring a smile to your face and make sure that you can crush it while we are quarantined at home and officially conquering the corona. But we got about another 10 seconds here of our jumping jack variation. So again, whether we're stepping or whether we're jumping from one to the next, connect those for another 5 seconds. And we're going to transition into one. We're switching it up to straddle stretches. So from here, we're going to go ahead and go opposite hand to opposite foot, keeping those legs nice and straight. Try and keep those arms nice and straight as well as we go from one side to the next. Your intention with this is to keep those legs locked down, or as much as you can, maybe just a light bend to them, and get down a little bit further with every single rep that you're doing. So from the side profile here, again, going down as far as we can, going from one side to the next. If you can't touch your toes yet, then trying to get closer and closer to your toes with every single repetition. If you can touch your toes, go ahead and see if you can't get to the ground. Touch the ground out in front of you from one repetition to the next. But we have about another 20 seconds here, and we're gonna go into our next movement. But again, focusing on breathing through this, going from one side to the next, keeping those arms and legs nice and straight, and trying to get a little bit further with every repetition. Another 5 seconds here, and we'll transition to our next movement in the warm-up, and we're gonna go ahead and switch right up to your knee raise variation. So high knees is what I have on here, but what I'm showing you right now is knee raises. So if you can't leave the ground or if we have any impact modifications that you need to be making, then this is gonna be a really good one. If you can kind of ramp it up and we can do a little bit more plyometric movements here, then go ahead and take it up to high knees. We're going from one to the next and you will be leaving the ground as you drive that knee up to 90. So from the side here, again, if we're doing the knee raises, then we're gonna go right from one to the next, trying to get those knees up to at least 90, right? If we can take this up to the higher level, then high knees means we're gonna go right from one to the next, breathing through, trying to keep our core tight so that we stay in the same position going from one repetition to the next. 10 more seconds here. So keeping it going, whether we're doing knee raises or high knees. We got another 5 seconds here. And we're gonna transition now to prisoner squats. So we're gonna take those hands, bring them to either side of your head. You do not want to interlock your fingers. We don't want to put any excess strain on your neck. So hands to the sides, and from there focusing on sitting back into the heels. So with every rep, we're trying to get a little bit lower and sitting all the way back into the heels. So this means that we don't want those knees to go in front of the toes. We want the knees to stay behind the toes as we get down with every single rep. So don't shorthand these, really trying to sit lower, trying to get down a little bit lower with every single rep that you're doing, making sure that we keep our chest upright. So as you get tired, if we don't have the best mobility yet, you might want to drop that chest down or send those your weight into your toes. But you're going to fight both of those urges as we stay back into the heels, chest is staying upright, and again from the side profile here, try not to let your chest drop too much and sit all that way back in the heels. We shouldn't be feeling any of that onto the toes, and we definitely should not have those knees out in front of the toes. And our last movement in the warm-up sequence here is going to be toe marches. So from this position, you're gonna go opposite foot to opposite, opposite hand to opposite foot again, but instead of staying stationary, we're gonna be moving a little bit. So still trying to keep your core tight, trying to maintain the same position as we go from one to the next, but with every single rep that we're doing, we're gonna be actually lifting versus keeping those feet grounded, all right? So from the side profile here, you're gonna try and kick that foot up. If you can't get your hand to your toe yet, then try and get a little bit further. If you can, then try and get that leg a little bit straighter, right? So the straighter that we are, the higher that we go, the more of a stretch we're gonna get in the hamstrings and the big old muscles in the backside of our legs. So just over 10 seconds here to close out the warm-up, and we got a nice reveal of our official mascot for this Conquer the Corona series that will come out here shortly. But for now, you nailed it. Warm-up officially complete. All right, get some water in you quick, but check it out. We are gonna be unveiling our official mascot to Conquer the Corona. So from this one here, guys, we have Tabata for today. So for those of you that haven't done Tabata, it's just an interval where you're gonna be working through a movement for 20 seconds. You're gonna rest for 10 seconds, and we're gonna repeat that for 4 minutes of total times. In between rounds, we're gonna take 30 seconds and we're gonna do 6 full intervals today. So if you need a little extra here, you can go ahead and pause the video, but if you are ready to get started, we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, and we are starting off with split squats first. So get that left foot forward, get that right foot back. From here, we're trying to drive that back knee straight down to the ground. Lock that back leg, but we want to maintain a light bend to that lead leg. All right, so we're gonna switch feet every round, but from here, another 3 seconds, and we're recovering. So this is our rest interval for 10. You're gonna hear some beeps to let you know that the round is about to get started again. In 3 seconds, we're gonna switch feet though, so we have that opposite foot forward, opposite foot back. So from here, now our right foot's forward, our left foot's back. Make sure that you're stepping wide enough so that you can get that that back knee straight down and straight up. You wanna lock the back leg out, but again, keep a light bend to that lead leg. In this case, our right leg would have a light bend to it, and that back left leg would be locking out. But rest it up. Again, keep that water close by if you need it. This 10-second intervals for you to recover, but we are back in business. We're back to that left foot being forward, that right foot being back. And with every single one, I want you to get down nice and low. All right, so it's still putting all that into the heel of the lead foot. So in this case, that left foot, all that weight's gonna be going to the heel. That back leg will lock out as we go from one to the next. For another 2, 1, and go ahead and recover. So from here, you're resting. We're taking those 10 seconds, getting ready, so go ahead and bring the opposite foot forward, because in 3 seconds, we're gonna start back up with split squats on the opposite side. So from here, that right foot's forward now, we're taking that left knee straight down. Now notice that the chest does not want to drop down. So trying to be conscious of that, making sure that you're not leaning forward as you come down, and also don't shorthand those reps. As you get tired, that knee's gonna wanna come less and less, but you're not gonna do that. You're gonna make sure that you're going all the way down, and let's go ahead and recover here for 10. So starting to get into the feel, get into the rhythm of this Tabata, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We're back in 2, 1, switching that foot position, so our left foot's forward, our right foot is back, and we're back in for 20 seconds. So again, I'm trying to put the movements here on the screen, so if you take a sneak peek, you'll see the timer and the variation, and if it's one where we have a certain foot position, it will be there as well. So that's why you'll see we got split squats to the left, that's that left foot forward, 2, 1, and recover. Awesome job, guys. So we are getting close to closing out this first interval, but we are back in business in 3, 2, 1, and from here we're back with that right foot forward. Again, really focusing on squeezing that core. Do not put your hands on your sides. Do not put your hands on your quads. I want you to use your midsection, right? So if you start to feel unstable, make sure that you are squeezing that core as tight as you can while you're going through that movement versus breathing consistently throughout. So rest it up here, recovering. We got a couple more to go. I'll talk a little bit about breathing mechanics here on the last few. In 3, 2, 1, and you're back in business. So from here, making sure that when we're breathing, big breath in, you're holding it down and up. You'll exhale when you get to the top, and you'll reset your breath. and you're holding that through the repetition. So trying to keep your breath held on the way down and up. Take your breath at the top, right? Especially if you're starting to find that you are struggling with balance, you want to make sure that we are squeezing that core as tight as you can. Go ahead and rest it up here, guys, as we go through from one rep to the next. So switching it up, we have 3 seconds, 2, 1. That right foot is back forward, that left foot is back. We got split squats to the right side. Knee stays behind the toe, all the weight's gonna be going into the heel of the right foot here. And again, you're squeezing that midsection as tight as you can, trying to get that back knee down as close to the ground as you can for the last 5 seconds here. In 3, 2, 1, and recover. That is one full round of Tabata in, and our next interval is gonna start here in 25 seconds. So get some water in you, recover, breathe in. If you need more time, if you start to feel your heart rate a little bit too high, then go ahead and pause the video out here before we get started with the next interval. But if you're feeling good, or you're coming into it with a little bit more of a fitness background, then in 9 seconds, we're gonna get started with that next interval, all right? So big breath in here, guys. If you're ready, we're starting in 3, 2, 1, and you are back here with jump squats. Now, the big thing with this movement is absorbing that into the heels, right? So don't just lock those legs out and land with locked legs. We wanna make sure that once the feet hit the ground, that we are going right into that. Now I'm showing a couple movement variations here. This is just gonna be standard squats. So if you can't jump, go ahead and rest here, guys. If you can't jump during that interval, then you're gonna just do standard squats here. So in 4 seconds, we're gonna come back. If you cannot jump, do regular squats starting right now. So I'm showing you from the side here that we're absorbing that landing, trying to get deep into that position and connecting those reps. Hold the jump squats continuously if you can. If you cannot, if we need to modify this, let's go ahead and drop it down to standard squats, right? So like we had done for the warm-up, except those hands will come out in front instead of behind the head, and rest and recover. Whatever you're physically capable of doing, try and keep that up through the whole interval. So if you can jump squat, try and see if you can make it through the whole interval, and we're starting right now. If you can't jump squat, then we can go ahead and do standard squats all the way through. But if you can, see if you can't make it through the entire interval here. So 20 seconds of time, jump squats. Again, every single interval I'll show you the variation, but if you are able to, stick with one. So if you have jump squats, try and see if you can make it through the whole interval. Outside of that, we're resting in 2, 1, and recover. Taking 10 seconds here. I'll show you from the side here again shortly, but we are back in 3, 2, 1, and back in with jump squats. If we've got jump squats, then we're coming back through, absorbing that landing, sitting into the heels, see if we can't string one rep to the next through this interval, right? So these intervals should be challenging. They should be pretty explosive bursts. We're trying not to stop. It's gonna be better for you to slow it down than to come for a complete stop for too long. But for now, rest it up for 10. Awesome job, guys. So we're gonna be back here in business with 5 seconds. If you've got jump squats, see if you can't do them the whole round, and you are live right now. If we gotta drop this down, we're going back to regular squats. So in terms of breathing here also, right, we're gonna be exhaling at the peak of that movement. If you can get a quick breath in before you hit the ground, then we're gonna try and keep that breath held on the way down and back up. So if you can get your breath, try and get it when you're fully locked out. So if you're doing regular squats, everybody's resting here. If you're doing regular squats, going ahead and keeping your breath held while you're going down and up. It's gonna help you keep your core tight, but we're live right now here, guys. So from the side again, we're absorbing that. Try not to have any abrupt components to this movement. So it should be nice and fluid up and back down. Not letting your chest drop down. So you're trying to keep your chin up, looking slightly out in front of you versus letting that chest collapse down for the last 3, 2, 1, and recover. And awesome job, guys. So again, if you are able to get those jump squats all the way through, then try and do them the entire interval. If not, we're live right now with regular squats. But smoothly connect those reps, keeping that core tight, trying not to let that chest drop. All the weight should be back into the heels as we connect one repetition to the next. 8 seconds here until we get that 10-second recovery. In 3, 2, 1, and excellent. We're resting here. We're approaching the home stretch of the squat movements here, guys. But you'll hear these beeps let us know that we got 3 seconds. and we are back in with the squats right now. So if we can do the jumps, then we're trying to commit to those the entire interval. Those quads should be feeling so good right now, maintaining that pace. If you've got to breathe and take a recovery through this, if you're just getting started, then absolutely. But guys, if you can push through and you're feeling like it's just because it's burning, then I'm going to challenge you to keep going for another second before we pause. And that's it. You've officially completed 2 of the 6 intervals. So from here, this is your chance to get some water in you, breathe and recover. And again, if you need more than the 30 seconds, if you're just getting started with the fitness routine, go ahead and take that time. But if you're feeling ready, in about 13 seconds, we're gonna get started with that next interval, and I'll cover all the different variations of that movement as well. All right, so about 5 seconds here, we're gonna get started. 3, 2, 1, and our next interval begins with push-ups. So drop right down into that push-up position. We got a couple variations. If you can't do a full standard push-up like I'm showing you here, we can do it from the knees, but if you guys are kind of in between, we can also do what I like to call an intermediate push-up, and I will show you that from the side profile in our next interval. But for now, go ahead and recover. So that's 1 in. You're gonna see me from the side here. I'm gonna start with the hardest, which is gonna be standard push-ups. Shoulders over top of the wrist position for all of these, and we're starting right now. So the shoulders over the wrist, we're trying to get that chest down to the ground, keeping everything nice and in line and straight. If this is too much of a challenge, try and go intermediate. So start in the high plank, bring the knees down, and only use the knees on the way up. If that's still too hard, then we can do it from the knees the entire time, but still focusing on keeping everything nice and straight in a full range of motion. Recover though, for now, 10 seconds. All right, so those are our 3 options. The level 3, the hardest, is gonna be standard push-ups, 2 seconds till we get started. And that's what I'm demoing right here. So these are regular standard push-ups. If you can, keep those elbows in, trying to keep everything nice and straight. So don't let the shoulders drop behind the wrist, and definitely don't let the butt come up too high. I've got my glutes over here a little bit bigger, so they peek over this front profile. But you'll see from the side profile in our next interval that everything's nice and straight throughout. Rest it up here, guys. 10 seconds. You are crushing it. You are doing amazing. We're going to continue to go through these push-ups in 3, 2, 1. And from here, you'll see that everything's nice and straight from the shoulders through the hips. Right, so that back is nice and straight as we're coming down. Without letting anything touch is the hardest. If you want to make it a little bit easier, you can come down and only press from the knees on the way up. If that's still too challenging, we can do knee push-ups all the way through, but again, still give me a nice big range of motion and recover. Awesome job. So shake it out, get some blood flow back in your extremities and those arms, because in about 5 seconds, we are gonna get started with that next one right about now. So whether we're doing it from the knee, whether we're doing that intermediate variation I showed you, or what I'm showing you right now, standard push-ups, keeping them going, nice steady tempo, big range of motion. I'd rather you take a couple seconds to recover and get nice quality reps than shorthand the range of motion. So even if it's burning, even if it's really getting hard, making sure that you're getting down with every one and pause. So 8 seconds here, breathing, recovering. If you can get a quick drink of water in these intervals and you need it, take it. But if not, we are back in business right now with push-ups. So everything's nice and straight, trying to get that chest down as far as you can with every single one. Ideally, just letting that chest touch. So again, this variation here is intermediate, so it's from the high plank down, from the knees only on the way up. And the easiest variation, or our beginner progression, will be with the knees all the way or down the entire time and recover. Awesome job, guys, here. So I'll show you that front profile here again in about 5 seconds as we get started in 2, 1, and from here, we're going back in. That chin is up, right? You do not want to tuck that chin down and in. It's going to restrict your airflow. It's going to it's not going to keep your back nice and straight, right? So keep that chin up. It's going to give you a bigger range of motion as well. If you need to drop to the knees, try and see if you can get away with it just on the way up. If that's still too much, then we can do knees down the entire time. Rest for that interval. You guys are doing amazing. Continuing to work through these push-ups here. I'll show you that side profile. Again, we're live right now. Working on getting those, that big range of motion, right? So if we can squeeze those elbows in, squeezing them in. If we need to drop to the knees, see if we can do it just on the way back up. And if it's still too challenging through that intermediate variation, we can do our beginner progression, which is gonna be knees down the whole time. 2, 1, and look at that. Our third interval is complete. Rest it up here, guys. Get some water in you, breathing through, recovering. In about 25 seconds, we're gonna get into our fourth interval of 6. So again, if you need to take a little extra time to recover, pause the video, take a little extra, but if you are ready, if you're good to go, if you're looking forward to what we got coming up next, in 8 seconds, we're gonna start our next interval up, and it is gonna get started here in 3, 2, 1. We're live with our fourth one. This is gonna be mountain climbers. So get into that high plank position, trying to keep those shoulders over the wrist, butt is low, back is straight, and we're going from one to the next. If that is too much of a challenge, try and bring one knee up, then the next, instead of kicking one immediately after the other. 3, 2, 1, and rest it up. So we're resting here. We got about 5 seconds. Again, the 2 variations is either regular mountain climbers, or we're gonna bring one knee up to the next, and we're live right now. So one knee immediately after the other. The big focus here, obviously keeping that core tight, keep those shoulders over the wrist, chin is up, breathing through. If that is too much for you, you can modify this down to just bringing one knee up to the next instead of one knee immediately after the other, and recovering. Awesome job, guys. So rest it up, breathing through, get a quick drink of water if you need it. But in about 3 seconds, we're starting back up with mountain climbers right now. So get up into that high plank. Now you're really gonna wanna start to bring that butt up or those shoulders back, but you're gonna fight the urge to do both of those. I'd rather you recover and get back into a nice good plank position than do either one of those 2 compensations. And if we gotta modify it, bring it down, then we're doing just like this, where it's one knee, then the next, and pausing. Rest it up here for 10. You guys are crushing it. Remember, keep that good plank position. Even if you're just holding high plank, that's gonna be better than getting that butt up or those shoulders back, and you are live right now with mountain climbers once again. Continuing to move, breathing, chins up, don't tuck that chin down and in, keep that airway open, keep everything nice and straight. If you've gotta drop this down, then go one to the next. If not, keep those mountain climbers going, one immediately after the other, and recovering. Awesome job, guys. So breathing through, shake it off, reset. We're getting back into that high plank position in 3 seconds, and we are back with mountain climbers right now. So bringing those knees up, trying to keep that body position nice and low. So don't let that butt lift, don't let those shoulders drop back. Keep breathing through, keep that chin up. If you can do mountain climbers the whole time, do mountain climbers the whole time. If you need to drop this down, modify it to just one knee to the next. 3 seconds, 2, 1, and pause. And awesome job, guys. You're doing fantastic, and we're getting close to the end of this mountain climber interval, but we're not there yet. So let's get back into mountain climbers right now. If you have to modify this movement, do one knee, then the next, instead of one knee right after the other. Even if you're just holding a nice high plank, making sure that your biggest focus here is keeping that plank position. So don't let those buns lift, don't let those shoulders drop back. 3, 2, 1, and recover in. Taking 10, shake those arms out, get yourself back in business and ready. In about 5, we're gonna get back into mountain climbers. 2, 1, and you are live right now. Nice, good body position, shoulders over the wrist, buns are staying low, breathing through, chins are up. And we're about 10 seconds in, about 10 seconds to go. If you've got to drop this down, modify it, whether it's one knee to the next or even just holding a nice high plank. If not, keep those mountain climbers going and recovering. Awesome job, guys. 10 seconds here. Shaking it off. We'll be back with mountain climbers shortly in 3, 2, 1, and you are starting right now. So keep in that position, right? Especially as we fatigue, it's gonna be easier to get that butt higher and those shoulders back, but doing neither one. 10 seconds in, 10 seconds to go. If you can keep mountain climbers going, keep them going. Only modify it if you really need to, or if that needs to be a modification for you. 2, 1, and interval complete. Awesome job, guys. So we got about 30 seconds here to recover. This is your chance to get some water in you. Breathe in again. If you need to take a little extra, if you're just getting started with your fitness journey, then go ahead and pause this video, get a little extra recovery, and come back in when you feel that heart rate come down a bit. If not, if you're feeling ready to go, in 10 seconds, we're gonna start that next interval. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live right now with knee tucks. Now this is gonna be an advanced movement, so I'm gonna show you a couple modifications here as well. If you can't do knee tucks, let's go high knees like we did in the warm-up. And again, if that is still too much, then we can go to knee raises. All three, we're trying to get those knees up to 90 degrees. In 2, 1, go ahead and recover. So you're resting here for 10, but again, knee tucks is the movement, but if we gotta drop that down, we can drop that to high knees or knee raises, and we are live with that second interval right now. So if you can, we're trying to get those knees up to 90, nice big explosive jumps, absorbing that landing and committing in. If that's too advanced of a movement, let's go ahead and go to high knees, one right after the other, getting them up to 90. And if that is still too much of a movement, we can drop that down even further to knee raises, but making sure you're still going nice and quick and recovering. So we're resting here for 10. We'll be back here in about 5. Do that knee raise variation in 2, 1, and so whatever we're doing, we're starting right now. If we're going knee tucks, then we're going right from one to the next. High knees, get it started, knee raises going. Even if we're going into knee raises, I still want to see you going with a nice quick tempo. So going right from one to the next, you really want to make sure that we're still challenging the heart rate through this, that we're not using this as a really long recovery window. So if we're doing knee raises, pause everybody, go ahead and rest it up. If we're doing knee raises, making sure to get that tempo nice and steady, get those knees up nice and high, and we are back in right now. So we're active knee tucks, high knees, or knee raises. All three of them, I want to see those knees coming up to at least 90. Breathing through here. So if we're coming in, it's going to be that opposite hand pumping up with the opposite knee for those high knees. We can keep both hands up for these knee raises. 2, 1, and recover. Resting here for 10. Doing amazing as we rock these ones. This is gonna be a tough movement throughout that interval, but you guys are doing awesome. 2 seconds, 1, and start it back up with your knee raise variation. So from here again, if we're going knee tucks, making sure to get those knees up to at least 90, nice big jumps. If we're going high knees, opposite hand will pump up as we get both of those knees up to 90 as well. And if we're gonna drop it down even further, we're bringing those for knee raises. 2, 1, and everybody's recovering right now. 7 seconds. Remember, whatever one you choose, try and stay with it the entire interval. 2, 1, and you are live right now. So if we choose knee tucks, try and keep these knee tucks going the whole 20 seconds. If we're on high knees, try and keep those high knees going the whole 20 seconds. Same thing for knee raises. If we're on knee raises, keep them going the whole 20 seconds and making sure that you are going with a nice, steady tempo from one to the next. Both knees coming up to 90. 3, 2, 1, and you are resting. 10 seconds here. So we're going through the entirety of the interval with whatever movement we've chosen. 2 seconds, and we are back in right now. So start it back up, whether we're doing knee tucks, high knees, or knee raises, we're driving those reps, breathing through. This is one that can get the heart rate really climbing. So making sure that we're taking nice big breaths in through the nose, light pause, exhaling through the mouth, trying to regulate that as much as we can as we push these intervals as hard as we can, and rest it up. 10 seconds. We back in. Remember, trying to stick with whatever your movement is for the whole interval. So trying not to drop down through that 20 seconds. We're live right now. So if we're locked in with knee tucks, let's get knee tucks for 20. If we're locked in with high knees the whole 20 seconds. Same thing with those knee raises. We're about 10 seconds in, about 10 seconds to go, and you can always take a look over here at the video and see the 3 different movement variations for the last 3, 2, 1, and recovering. That interval is done. Next interval coming up for you guys in 27. This is the home stretch. We're approaching the final one here. So 20 seconds of time. If you need to take a longer recovery, pause the video, take that time, right? If you're just starting your fitness journey. But if you are ready to roll, if you want to finish this out strong, in 10 seconds, we're going to go ahead and get started. So get that last sip of water in, because we're going to get started here in 3, 2, 1, and we are live with spider climbers. So the big thing with this one here is you want to go until you make contact that outside knee to the outside arm. Now I've dropped it down here to show you the variation. We can do this from the knee position as well. Last 5, 4, 2, 1, and recover, resting for 10. So spider climbers is next, really trying to go until that knee makes contact. Those last couple inches are the sweet spot. 2, 1, if you can, go ahead and kick up from that high plank position. You're gonna go from one to the next. If that is too challenging of a movement for you right now, then bring those knees down, and we'll go from that knee position. Same thing though, outside knee to outside arm. Trying to keep everything nice and straight here. So shoulders are still over top of the wrist. 3 seconds, 2, 1, recover. All right, so if you can do it from the high plank, do it from the high plank position. If we've got to drop it down or modify it, you can bring it down from the knees. 2 seconds here, and we are back up. But whatever one we choose, try and stay with it the whole interval. So if we can do it from the high plank, trying to do that the entire time. About 13 seconds to go here. If we can't do it from the high plank yet, then let's go ahead and drop those knees down and do that same movement, outside knee to outside arm, but try not to go to the opposite side until you actually make contact. Rest for 10. So really trying to go until you actually physically touch that knee to the arm. 5 seconds here, and we'll get started with that next interval. 2, 1, and you are live right now. So from here, that outside knee is going to that outside arm. Again, trying to keep that back nice and straight. Chin is up, looking slightly out in front of you. If you need to modify this down, then you get that knee. We can do it from the knees the entire time. But make sure that you're going all the way until you make contact from one side to the next if you can. And recover. And taking 10, rest it up. We'll be back in about 7 with that next interval. In 2, 1, and you are live right now. So again, whatever one you can do, try and do the entire time. So if you can do it from the high plank, try and do it from the high plank the entire 20-second interval. If you've got to modify it, we can bring those knees down and do that from the knee position from one side to the next for the last 3, 2, 1, and rest it up. 10 seconds here as we start to approach the home stretch of this workout. So in 3 seconds, we'll start back up, and we are live right now. If we can get it from the high plank, guys, let's get after it. Let's try and do it that whole interval from that high plank position. If we've got to modify it, making sure that we're going down to the knees, but still making contact, right? So don't go to that next rep until we can physically touch. 5 seconds, last 3, 2, 1, and rest it up for 10 here as well. If you're having issues as we fatigue through this, making contact, we can try and get those hands a little bit further back and kind of lean into it a little bit more. You are live right now. We're really only going with that if we were having any issues under fatigue. Outside of that, really try to make sure that we've got a nice plank position. Now we can still have a nice plank position from the knees. We just got to make sure that those hips come down and in, and they keep that position as we go from one to the next. 3 seconds here, 2, 1, and recover in. Rest in for 10. Breathe in through. Quick drink of water if you've got it close by. But in 3 seconds, we're back in with that next interval, and that interval starts right now. So kicking up to that high plank if we can, if not from the knees the entire time. But your intention, keep those shoulders over top of the wrist. Keep that back nice and straight, chins up, and go until you physically make contact with that knee to the outside arm, or as close as you possibly can for now. 3 seconds, 2, 1, and with that, you officially completed the workout. You did it. You made it. You survived it. Awesome job, guys. So from here, I'm going to give you some time to get that heart rate down, get some water in you, breathe and recovering, but it's super important for us to get a cool down in. We're going to do some static stretching. So get some water in you. Again, if you need to recover a little bit longer, go ahead and pause the video here. But for those of you that are ready, grab that water bottle, bring it over with you, keep it close by, and we're going to start the cool down here in 4 seconds. 2, 1, and beautiful here, guys. So what I'm showing you here, take a look through the first couple reps. I showed a couple, is the world's greatest stretch. This is to the left side, so what I want you to do is have that left foot up, that right knee back. Try and keep that hand flat on the ground, push off that lead leg, and you're looking up toward the hand on that side, okay? If you can't get up straight overhead, like I'm showing here, then go up as far as you can and look at that hand in the direction that it is. But from here, we're trying to hold the position, pushing in and maintaining that. So from here, let's go ahead and switch sides. So we'll switch to the opposite end. We're gonna go with that left foot forward, left knee up, right leg back, perfect. So if you haven't already switched, switch legs, switch arms, we're pressing to the opposite side, the opposite direction, and we're holding. Trying to get a little bit more for the last 2, 1, and perfect. So from here, let's go ahead and have a seat, get those legs straight out in front of you, flex those toes back, point them up toward the ceiling, big breath in through the nose, light pause, slow exhale, and work your way forward. So from here, we're gonna do about 30-second intervals, showing you from the sides. So if you can only get down to the ankles, then grab to the ankles. But with that, we're trying to get lower with every single breath that we take. So big breath in through the nose, light pause, slow exhale. As you exhale, getting a little bit further. Let's take a seat all the way upright. Big breath in, and light pause, exhale, and go a little bit further out. So if you haven't already, just sit back upright, take a breath, reset, and come back out. 15 seconds, we'll go ahead and switch to our final movement of the cool down. But for now, again, with every exhale, trying to get a little bit further. Last 5, 3, 2, 1, and last but not least here, guys, we're gonna go child's pose. We're gonna do 2 sets of 30 seconds here. So if you can, get those hands a little bit closer together, squeeze those biceps in toward your ears, drive your head down, and sinking your hips back toward your heels. So here, take a look at the side profile. If you guys are holding, keep holding it for another 10 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back up, reset, and let's do one final hold back down. So try and get a little bit further if you can. Get those hands a little bit closer together, pushing, and from here you're holding. So big breath in through the nose, light pause, slow exhale, feeling that heart rate coming down. We have about 10 seconds of time here, and we'll officially be done with this workout for today. And last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and victory is officially yours. Guys, if you like this, go ahead, please share it with somebody, because we're all in this together. And remember, we will be back tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. with another follow along workout.